When was the last time an ad convinced you to buy something? I mean, you've probably seen an ad for some stupid website creator or VPN before the beginning of this video, but did you actually really consider buying it?
Speaking of ads, I'd like to talk about today's sponsor.
Nah, I'm kidding. But still, I get these ads all the time, and rarely do I actually decide to go to the store or do anything about it. No, what these ads are actually trying to do is to plant themselves into your mind so that every time you see something slightly resembling them, you think of Consumerism is the idea that the consumption of goods leads to happiness. But does it really? Do you really get butterflies in your stomach watching football and getting interrupted by that stupid gecko? I mean, with the levels of consumerism and anxiety increasing, you really have to wonder what consumerism is doing to us. That being said, we can't erase it altogether. The sharing of objects and ideas is what brings us together. Whether it's food, religion, culture, you have to recognize the value of receiving. But hey, we're living in a pretty consumer-heavy time. Maybe it would help us if we just went back and just thought how the ancient Greek philosophers did. The idea of consumerism is pretty modern, so you never see it talked about by Plato or Socrates. Still, you can see how these ideas completely go against pre-modern philosophical thought. You see, in ancient thought, there's this idea of the soul, and that was split up into three different parts. Now, those three different aspects of the soul should be even. However, consumerism and the constant want for physical objects hurts our soul and unbalances it, making it abnormal. 9/11. Specifically, the months after was a very panicky time in America. And because of that, people ended up going to stores and buying duct tape to tape on their walls and to board up their windows just to protect themselves from mysterious poisonous gas that they thought would be released. That is just one of the many showings of how our thoughts with consumerism are all messed up. Now, we can speculate whether ancient philosophers were pro or anti-consumerist all we want, but there's no way we could really know, right? Well, Diogenes of Sinope was one of the greatest philosophers in his era. He was also homeless. He didn't want possessions, he didn't need them, he believed that they were an obstacle to the meaning of life. Reason. Diogenes believes, as long as you live your life according to your nature, you'll live a fulfilling life. So next time you go throwing bricks at homeless people, think about who has the real burden. Is it the hobo with the newly fractured leg, or you with all your physical possessions dragging you away from reason? There are astonishingly few sources that talk about consumerism and modernism, but thanks to Kevin, we're able to find something at least close to take. From the A-Push name drop, John Locke. Similar to other modernists of the time, Locke tried to take a logical and scientific approach to consumerism, pointing out the fact that if we didn't consume products, those products would just go to waste. Shocking, I know. More importantly, it talks about our right to own goods, and that if we're unable to purchase or own any goods, it is infringing upon our fundamental rights. Alright, now all this freedom is very John Lockean from what I've read, but it doesn't really get into the consequences of owning these goods. So from the few resources that Kevin and I were able to actually find, modernists seem more like the Silicon Valley tech bro side of consumerism rather than the blue-haired socialists. Speaking of blue-haired socialists, we still have to talk about postmodernism. Postmodernists believe that consumerism is fat-phobic. You see, companies want you to buy more of their product, but in order to do so, they have to give you a goal or an expectation that seems plausible, but is actually unattainable. This is where the fat phobia comes in. But for another example, gambling companies tend to only show you the winners of gambling,
but not
other part, the losers, like the broke college students who lost $500 on a 12-legged parlay. Karl Marx was certainly a character, but aside from his love letters to Abraham Lincoln, he was also staunchly anti-consumerist, claiming that it was only able to satisfy our material needs, but not our essence. Marx thought these false needs were perpetuated by capitalism. Now, if you want to learn more about capitalism, and if it's really a toxic cesspool of consumerist zombies, read a book about it. Please don't expect me to answer those questions. I am a high school student. I am not educated in that. Now, I know after that fiasco, you guys have a bunch of questions, but I know the question that you are all thinking of right now is, hey, how does this relate to the Catholic worldview? Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, consumerism and Catholicism both make the claim that you can obtain happiness through them. Consumerism through goods, and Catholicism through God. But if we consume too much, it gets in our relationship. It gets in the way of our relationship with God. Consumerism makes us see people as objects to exploit for personal gain, rather than actual people. And you see, from the Catholic view, when you go to heaven, you don't take any of this stuff with you. And the stuff all around you is more accessible than ever. The only way to fight against consumerism is to put your faith in God, according to the Catholic worldview.
Ugh.